Good morning, everybody. I hope you are doing well. So today we are going to continue from where we left last time. So last time we classified the nutrients into groups. We talk about macronutrients and micronutrients. All right. So if you look at this page, you see that the objective that I have is number one, we name the 6 class of nutrients and their primary function. Okay, meaning what did they do? Remember, this chapter is very important because from chapter 3, we will start studying the different nutrients in details. So next, sometimes this week, we'll study nutrition facts label, how to plan a healthy diet. Then we will start to study these nutrients. So understanding the primary functions of nutrients, it's very important. Recognize symptoms of malnutrition, and I will explain to you what is malnutrition in a few minutes. Describe ways in which nutrition and health are related. This is where the page where you will see nutrition deficiency. Remember, last week I told you that we need micronutrient in small quantity. Okay? They do not provide energy, but they are necessary for the functioning of our body. All right? So we're going to see some of the nutrients such as iron, vitamin B, vitamin C. All right, just a little bit, and we'll see a little bit of them again more later on. So let me start here. We spoke about the 6 classes of nutrients. They are the same: carbohydrates, fat, protein, vitamins, minerals, and water. But what do you see here? What you see here is I classify them differently. It is no longer in terms of macro and micro, but we classify them in terms of organic or inorganic nutrients. Okay? Simple way, usually when we talk about organic, we say that, okay, this nutrient has a carbon in its structure. So we have carbohydrates, fat, protein, and the vitamins are all organic nutrients. So remember, on the exam, when I ask you to name the 6 nutrients and classify them, is actually 2 questions. You need to give the 6 nutrients, and in parentheses, you need to tell me in the classification, did you classify them in terms of macro or micro, or you classify them in terms of organic, inorganic? Here, the inorganic ones are minerals and water. An example, we have like an iron, there is no carbon inside. Water, H2O, there is no carbon. So carbohydrates, just basic function. They provide energy. We learned that a little bit last week when we spoke about energy producing nutrients. Okay. And we spoke about fat. They're also a great source of energy. 1 gram of fat will give you 9 kilocalories. The proteins, very important. People talk about protein all the time. We need them in order to build and repair tissues and provide energy as well. Okay, So until now, the first three are the ones that you are familiar with in terms of energy producing nutrients. Of course, they will have more and more specific roles, but we don't worry about it at this time. Then we have the vitamins. The vitamins are very important. Like I said, they regulate many body processes. All right. And deficiency of these vitamins will actually lead to some health issues. All right. That we're going to see on the coming page as we move forward. Need them in small quantities, but very important for the regulation of body processes. Inorganic nutrients, now we have minerals, also they regulate body processes. I'll show you guys in a minute. For example, when we talk about iron, very important, deficiency of iron may lead to anemia. When we talk about the absence of iron, really important regulation of the body. In which way? We talk about production of red blood cells. All right. So when you don't have enough of red blood cells, then you are kind of likely to develop anemia. The A part, the an part meaning nothing, absence, and the emia part talking about blood. Okay. And as you know, the most important nutrients is water. Okay, the most important nutrient is water, and I know that we will be studying water again sometimes at the end of the semester. But already we talk about water being the most important nutrient, as it also regulates the body processes, our joint and things like that. We often ask the question, how much water do I need to drink? All right. And when I ask these questions, people usually just jump 2 liters, these many cups. But actually, we have a general way of calculating how much water do we actually need to drink. Okay. Because what is happening here is, can we imagine that a person who's a bigger person, very tall, will consume the same quantity of water that somebody who's very, very small? Or you talk about a kid and an adult or somebody of a certain weight. Okay, so what I'm going to do, they are more complex calculations, but for now, we will just learn the basic calculations, how you can learn a little bit how to calculate your water consumption here. So if you have a pen, this is what you can do here. This is what we usually do. We will classify it in term of age and in term of your weight. So when we look at it, so we talk about water. We talk about water intake. Okay. So for the water intake, we look at two main components. Actually, there are three in terms of your physical activity. But for now, don't worry about the physical activity part. I will explain it on the coming chapters. But for now, let's focus on this one. So we look at your age, all right? And we also look at what? We also look at your weight. Okay? So how much is the water intake? Okay, so if you look at the age here, what do? We say, for example, if somebody, let me just delete this first. Okay, so look at the age. We say, okay, somebody is, for example, from 16 to 30 years, 16 to 30 years. This person must drink around 35 to 45 milliliter of water per kilogram. All right. Now, if the person, for example, is from 31 to 54 years old, okay, now the person drinks a little bit less in this case. So we say, okay, the person will drink from 30 to 35 milliliter per kilogram. All right, so please remember that. Okay, so then if I have to calculate the water intake, let's calculate the water intake. We say, for example, we calculate this person is how old. Say, okay, this person is 22 years. And what is this person weight? The person weight is 60 kilogram. Okay, so water intake calculation for this person, what do we do? Very simple. We know that 22 is actually here, right? So it will be in the bracket of 35 to 40 milliliters per kilogram. Okay, so please note that, because you don't have that on your book. Yeah, you have it in your book, but on the later pages. So please write it down. How do we calculate this? So very simple. What you need to do is to take the 35. So you have here 35 milliliter per kilogram. You just multiply it by 60 kilogram, which is the person weight. All right. So, and if you do that operation, you have around 2100 milliliter here. Okay, but remember, we said that the bracket is 35 to 40. All right, so then we also do here 40 milliliter per kilogram. We multiply it by 60 kilogram. So 4 by 6 is what? 24, right? 24 milliliters. Okay, so how much is it here? We talk about 2.1 liters, and here 2.4 liters. This is the daily water intake requirement. And when I talk about requirement, we'll come about it. I will explain it again in a few minutes, because that requirement, when we use that word, we also use it for the nutrients. How much nutrients am I required to eat every day? How much of vitamin C do I need every day? How much of carbohydrates, protein, how much of iron do I need? And we'll study that again more when we will study chapter 2 on the nutrition facts label. Okay, guys. So I hope that you actually copy this already. Okay. So let me go back. Let me go back to where we were, and come back to our PPT here. Okay. So what do we have here? So we already we explained a little bit when I talk about the regulation for water. How much water do we need, and how do we actually calculate that? Okay. So in this part, you guys will probably remember when we when we mention the acceptable macronutrient range here. Do you guys remember it? We studied it last week, right? Acceptable macronutrient range. And the acceptable macronutrient range is here. What did I say, guys? I say you need to study it. You need to remember it when we calculate the total energy. And then I will ask you, is it acceptable, yes or no? Carbohydrates, 45 to 65. Fat, 20 to 35. And then kilocalorie, 10 to 35%. Okay, so let me come back here. Now, we finish, right? We're done with this first section of the 6 class of nutrients and their primary functions. So if you need to send me a question, you can just say, oh, remember the first 6 classes of nutrients and their primary function. Then you ask me your question regarding that. All right. So this is actually very, very important. Number 2 here, okay, guys, number 2 here, we talk about recognized symptoms of malnutrition. Okay, symptoms of malnutrition. Now, let's move forward. Here you have the disease deficiencies. But before we talk about it, we said, okay, recognize the symptom of malnutrition. All right. But the first question is, what is malnutrition? Okay, what is malnutrition? So let me just open that page with you guys again here. Okay, so we look at okay, I don't know what I did here. Let me just delete this. So we look at malnutrition. Okay, what is malnutrition? Okay, guys, again, if you're taking the nutrition class for the first time, just pay attention to this. In malnutrition, you have basically 2 words, all right? You have 2 words. Let me just put in red here. So you have the first word here, mal, which basically means bad, okay? And you have a nutrition here. So basically, it means bad nutrition, okay? Very, very simple, all right? Bad nutrition. But what is bad nutrition? All right. When we talk about bad nutrition here, we actually look at in terms of the person's weight. All right. So, but before that, bad nutrition will have what we say 2 components. Number 1, under nutrition. Okay, undernutrition. And number 2, overnutrition. But what does it mean? Under meaning very low, you're not eating enough. You are basically, can I move? Let me just move here. So you are basically here underweight. All right. You don't eat enough. Okay. You don't eat enough. Overnutrition, over too much, all right? So too much, what does it mean? It means you are overweight, okay? I don't really like my writing. I'll try to write nicely. Yep, okay. All right. So we're talking about underweight and overweight. Then we ask the question, how? How do I know? How do I know I'm underweight? How do I know I'm overweight? All right. How do I know that? So very simple. There is something called, we call it body mass index, or in parentheses, BMI. BMI. So how do we work with the BMI here? What we do with the BMI is we take your weight, okay? Your weight in kilogram. We divide it by your height in square meter. So we have the height here. Exactly. Okay. So then how do we classify it? How do we classify it? So I come here, I put BMI classification. Okay, BMI classification. So how do I classify my BMI? It's based on my weight. Okay, so we said when you do your weight, you do your weight divided by square meter, what do you get? Okay, so we have here, number one, if your weight is below 18.5, your BMI, I'm sorry, 18.5 kilogram per square meter. All right, here you are underweight. Okay, if your weight is between 19 to 24.9 kilogram per square meter, this one is normal. If you don't know this already, please write it down. If your weight is between 25 to 29.9 kilogram per square meter, here you are overweight. Okay? And if the BMI is over 30, here the person is obese. So we don't want to be here, and we don't want to be here. Okay, we don't want to be obese, and we don't want to be underweight. So now this part overweight is, we want to also avoid it. This is basically like the borderline where you have to be very, very careful. All right. So if we can do an example, let's do an example here. All right. So let's do this example. We have, for example, this young lady. All right. She's 29 years old. Okay. We want to calculate her BMI. So she has 72 kilograms and her weight is 1.65 meters. All right. So the BMI, very simple. We do kilogram divided by square meter. So the kilogram is what? 72 kilogram. We divide by 1.65. Okay. So what I have here is 26.4 kilogram by square meters. Okay. So this is her body mass index. Now, the next question is, what is the classification? Okay. The next question is, we want to classify her body mass index here. Remember, we talk about classification. So if you go down, is 26.4. 26.4 is what? 26.4 is overweight, because we have right here 26.4 is between 25 and 29.9 kilogram per square meters. Okay, guys. So I hope you understand this. This will be actually very important. All right. So now, before I move forward, I want to open a new page here. This is the type of problems that you may actually have. We say a young woman, okay? So that young lady, we say, okay, she's 29 years old, okay? Let me just facilitate it. This woman is 29 years old. This woman weight, all right? This woman weight is what? We say this woman weight is 72 kilogram. This woman height is 1.65 meter or 165 centimeters. So, question number 1, water intake. Okay, she's 29 years old. All right, so her water intake will be between 35 to 40 milliliter per kilogram. You understand? So you just do the calculation that we did. So her water intake will be between 2.1, sorry, here, will be between 2.1 to 2.4 liters. All right. Number 2, we want to calculate her body mass index. Very simple, kilogram per square meters. All right. So, which is 72, 1.65 square meters. And what did we get? We got 26.4 kilogram per square meters. Number 3, BMI classification. what did you write there? You write overweight. Okay. So remember that, because the type of questions you will have on the exam, especially the last question, that's the way the last question will come about. Okay? All right. So let's go back. Let's go back. Let's go back to our PowerPoint. Now, we look at the disease, the deficiencies. The first one that you see here, I didn't choose all of them. We look at deficiency disease here, and we look at nutrients that are lacking. We talk about nutrient deficiency, all right? By the way, whatever you see on the board here is actually the same information you have coming down here, all right? For example, the disease name here is iron deficiency. We talk about iron deficiency anemia. We have iron deficiency anemia when the person doesn't have enough of iron. Okay? And remember when I talked to you about how much water we need to drink every day. You're going to have the same challenge when it comes to iron, all right? Iron deficiency anemia is what? I wrote it down here. You can read, okay? You can read. I'm just going to put here. A condition in which blood lacks adequate healthy red blood cells. Red blood cells carry oxygen to the body's tissues. Iron deficiency anemia is due to insufficient iron. Then the question is, insufficient iron, how much do we need? Okay? This is why this week, later this week, when we will study how to read the food label, chapter 2, you can start reading it. You will see how important it is to know these numbers. Without enough iron, your body can't produce enough of substance in red blood cells that enables them to carry oxygen, what we call the hemoglobin. So sometimes people will need supplementation, right? And I put here fortified food. Oh my gosh, I need to explain it. But before, let's do this, okay? So let's come back here. We talk about how much do we need of iron. So you see, guys, we talk about iron. All right. So I'm not sure what's going on here. It's maybe when I touch the screen. Okay. So we talk about iron here. This is when we say, how much iron do I need every day? And we will study that again later this week, right? So how much I need every day means we are talking about the dietary reference, right? Dietary reference index, right? Or if you want, DRI. What is the DRI for iron? Again, here is going to be a different. Man, woman is different. How old are you? You know, the age is going to be a factor again. So when I give you a problem, please always remember You check the weight, you check the age, you check everything. All right? So we look at it. For example, we have this. We have, for example, for men, we have for women, we have for, we will say vegetarian. What do we do with somebody who's a vegetarian? What do we do? How much do we need for a pregnant woman? All right? But don't worry about that aspect now. I'll explain it more in another class. So, for example, if we speak about men, a man that is the age between 19 and 70 years old, all right? How much iron does he need? Not much. You just need around 8 milligram per day. Okay? So how about a woman? We choose a woman between 19 and 50 years old. How much does she need? The woman will need around 18 milligram per day. Okay? Why do women need more? Somebody will say, oh, the woman need almost double. Why? Very simple. Every month, women go through menstruation period, so they lose blood, and by losing blood, then, you need to supplement it again. You're losing iron, so you need more blood. So this is why women will need more iron, because every month they go through menstruation period. You see here, we talk about men 19 to 70, all right? But women only stop at 50, because when women are over 50, they don't need that much iron anymore. Why? Menopause. Please, guys, remember everything I'm saying to you. When we meet face to face, I will assume you understand here. So if you see, now, this is how much we need. Now we talk about, a vegetarian man, all right? And we have a vegetarian woman. Okay? All right. Same age, 19 to 70, 19 to 50. How much do they need? Here is very simple. Okay? We take the 8 milligram per day in the case of men. Okay? We multiply it by 1.8. Okay? Here, we take the 18 milligram per day. We multiply it by 1.8. So what do we have? 14.4 milligram per day. If you write just 14, I'm okay, no problem. And this one, we write around 32.4 milligram per day. So this is when we talk about a vegetarian, this is how much they will need. So my friends, please be careful about this. If I give you a problem and I say, oh, this woman is 25 years old, she's a vegetarian, I want to know how much iron she needs every day. Is she iron deficient? And some of these things, it's important you understand it. Okay? All right. So now, let me focus on my friends, the vegetarians. Somebody, number one, we said, oh, why do the vegetarian will need more? Because we know most vegetarians don't eat meat. Being vegetarian in the basis, just like they don't eat red meat. And red meat has a lot of iron. So what can we do? So the vegetarian, what will be their need? Okay, they will need fortified food. Oh my God, this is a new word. All right, a fortified food. In fortified food, what does it mean? Fortified food, here we are adding what? New. We adding new nutrients, right, in the food. It means that these nutrients were not there. This is very, very important to understand. Fortified food, we adding new nutrient. What does it mean? You have here some cereals, all right? You have some cereals, cornflakes. They don't have the iron, so we add iron into these cereals. By adding the iron, so now we say that the cereals are fortified with iron. Okay? So these cereals are fortified with iron. Now, the vegetarians can have enough iron in their body and they can live a great life. It's the same thing that we do, even like for mothers who need folic acid and some of these elements. So coming back to the PowerPoint, my friends, please, you have the same for here. We talk about berry for thiamine, B vitamin here. It's a form of weakness, vitamin B1 here. So go through it. I will, for me and for this class, for now, I would like to focus on iron. I will focus on osteoporosis when we have deficiency of calcium and vitamin D. All right. Here again, we can fortify the food with calcium and vitamin D. All right. Even though you can just go outside and get a bit of vitamin D and everything is good. We will talk about vitamin C. Deficiency of vitamin C will lead to a disease called scurvy. Okay, so if you go, of course, you have other examples here. If you go, you will have the case of osteoporosis here, a bone disease that occurs when body loses much more bones. All right, so here again, it will happen mostly, we look at this research, a lot of women in their menopause. So we have to be careful and give them fortified food with calcium. Very important, when I will talk about calcium again, we will say, how much calcium do you need every day? All right. Read already chapter 2. We say, okay, we need around 1,000 milligrams per day. Maybe for some women, a little bit more if they are into menopause. All right. So we can fortify the food. We talk about, for example, the vitamin C. We're going to look how much vitamin C do you actually need every day to be healthy. All right. So, and you will see that we don't need a lot of vitamin C. So this disease should actually be rare. It should actually be rare. And look at the relationship between, for example, calcium, maybe in pregnancy, because remember that in chapter 7 and chapter 7, we will be talking about nutrition, pregnancy, and lactation. And we will look at what is sometimes happening, when we say to mothers, oh, don't really drink milk. And some people see like, what is the relationship between drinking milk with calcium and the pregnancy and some of these problems that are happening. So these small nutrients, the micronutrients, are very critical in the functioning of our body. All right. So you are pellagra, but like I told you guys, we'll focus. All right. So we'll focus on iron. Okay. Goiter, the iodine. So here you may not have a lot of these cases in Korea now, where we have a abnormal enlargement of your thyroid gland. Okay. So, but sometimes it may happen, and this is when we talk about some fortified salt with iodine. So what we usually do here again, in this, when we have this case here of goiter, so what do we do? So we have salt, okay? We have salt, and then we fortify the salt with these, with this nutrient, the iodine. You have the iodine here. Okay. Now you know what is fortified food. We add new nutrients into the food, so the person will not be nutrient. The person will not be nutrient deficient. Okay. So remember, you can send me the questions here. I want to finish. The next chapter is the one that you see here, nutrition facts label. Okay, this chapter have a look on that. This is our chapter 2 according to the syllabus. All right. So, but now you will see I uploaded. You must have this book with you. It's written like this: Nutrition Study Guide. Okay, you have this nutrition study guide. I uploaded it. Was it today or yesterday? Anyway, check it. Look, you have all the chapters there. Overview of nutrition, chapter 1. You have chapter 2. You have chapter 3. So all the questions are there. So the first chapter is over. Okay. So do the study guide. Okay. When we meet face to face, we'll correct it and I can give you some answers. I will see how I can go about it. All right. So have a nice day and I hope to see you soon. Stay safe and stay home.